Good evening, Wolfpack Nation, and welcome back. Colby, it is great to be back for season 2 of a Whole Pack of Wolves podcast 2. So this year we are back and better than ever. The podcast is growing this year too, Colby. Unfortunately, we were not able to get our third correspondent tonight, but Hunter is going to be joining our show weekly to give us another opinion about our beloved NC State Wolfpack football team. We are excited, man. This is another great season. We're growing. We're getting to the point where we really want some fan interaction. We want you guys to tell us what your thoughts are for us. And we've got our thoughts tonight. You know, we're going to always do what we do. We got our three keys to the game. We've got our three key players for both sides, for both Western Carolina and for NC State. And we also got our score predictions tonight. And Hunter was gracious enough to give me his score prediction for tonight, so we will have that. But Colby, I'm gonna let you lead us off for 2024. Tell us what you got for your keys to the game. How is NC State going to be able to win this football game?
Well, Justin, I'm glad to be back. It's good to be here. Good to be back talking ball with you. I will say this: I don't think that there's going to be many keys for this game. Really, it's really just for NC State to just establish the offense. We needed to have a stable run-pass game, and establish that is my first key. We need to establish that first. Take away the deep ball is the second key. If you take away the deep ball, we take away Western Carolina's ability to score. And for the last key of the game is just don't beat yourself. I mean, we don't need to come out with jitters. We really don't. We need to just come out and play our game. And that's just the kind of bland way of saying it. I don't think this game is really that big to really kind of just, go in depth about it. But
yeah,
those are my three keys, really.
All right. I like that. You definitely hit one of my points on number 2 was going to be control Colombo. I try to go with some of these little baseball isms is what I call them now. You get from the Yankees. Yep. It's like control Colombo. So Colombo was their backup receiver last year. He ended up having close to 500 yards receiving. He had a little over 430. Yeah. And AJ was really good as far as getting himself open in space. And that was one of the things that when we were at Southern Conference Media Day that, when we met with Coach Kerwin, Coach Bell, he really was reiterating to us that he really thought his guys could kind of get a little bit on us. He said they were really hoping that NC State would play a lot of press coverage, which I fully expect us to. Tony's probably going to run a lot of design blitzes, and he might not show a whole lot, because we got Tennessee week 2. So hopefully we can play a lot of base coverage, but I'm sure we'll still see a lot of press man. And Coach Bell talked about that, and he said he really felt he had some guys that were in the slot. He didn't mention, AJ by name, but now that I know, who he is and how he's been utilized, AJ Colombo might be a little issue for us in space. They like to get the ball out quick. Cole Gonzalez was one of the best quarterbacks in the Southern Conference last year, led the Southern Conference with a little over 2,800 yards passing and 28 touchdowns. So when I first started looking at this game, and especially when we were at Media Day, I kind of started getting the sense that Western's got a little bit of confidence coming into this game. So that was what led me to my number 2 point was crush them early and kill them early, kill their confidence early. I think NC State needs to get off to the fast start. That's what I made my notes for. Get them in a situation where they're behind in the game, and you're forcing them to be a little bit more one-dimensional because they got a really good running back too. That they return. He's a preseason second team all-conference too. So, that was kind of what I wanted to see from NC State, especially for me because, we lose Peyton Wilson. So that was the number one thing that I'm personally looking out for is to see how does NC State respond without Peyton Wilson. How do they control the running game? So that was my number one thing was to get them down early, make sure that we can get them into throwing those short passes, and then just clean up on the tackling. So that was my number 2. I really thought if NC State does a good job there, I think we will be able to control the game a little bit early and do what we really want to do, which is kind of get to that second half with a pretty big lead and ultimately get some guys some playing time that need to get some experience. So that was my second, and then my third. You know me by now. I'm a big turnover margin guy. Win the turnover battle.
Yeah.
NC State was one of the top teams in the country last year in turnover margin. Continue to do what you do best there. Force Gonzalez to make some throws in tight windows. Where we are essentially just forcing him to make those reads and forcing him to make tough throws. And I really think with the additions that we've added in the secondary this season, it probably is the strength of our defense right now. When I'm breaking everything down, and we talked a little bit about it in the offseason, Aiden White hasn't given up a touchdown in 2 years. So, play to your strength. Keep everything in front of you and make sure you make clean tackles. So that was my third and final, was make sure we win the turnover battle. Like you said, don't beat yourself. Protect the football. And the thing that got me the most excited when I was talking about that was, my guy's Grayson. So, Grayson does a great job of not turning the football over. So just sit back and let Grayson do the thing. That's what he's known for. So, let him be the leader. He's apparently taken a really massive step this year in his leadership. So, but let's be real. The guy's got over 10,000 passing yards and 80 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, Grayson knows what he's doing a little bit. So, I think being conference player of the year a few times kind of warrants you being the leader of the pack. So, that was kind of my little bonus key was, let Grayson cook is what I'm gonna say. Let him be his deal. So, ultimately I had a little bit of apprehension about this game. I'm not going to lie, just because Western Carolina's got some talent. They're bringing back a wealth of experience. They finished third in conference last year. So, I'm not going to, completely write them off. I think they've got some kids that are super talented and some kids that can play at a very high level. So I think NC State's got to make sure that they get them down early. And, because, just hearing Coach Kerwin Bell at the press conference today, he's super confident, no doubt. He's confident his team's going to be able to come in and do some things. He said they really felt like they were really happy with their defensive line this week. So he really thinks that they might be able to get some pressure. So, I like the confidence. You can't doubt the confidence, but, I still think this is a team that just doesn't have enough weapons, to make it a full 4 quarters for us. So with all that said, Colby, it's a new year. I want to, before we get to, NC State's key players, we're going to talk about who are some of the guys that we brought in. It's been a crazy offseason. We always talk about NC State winning the transfer portal, and they certainly did. I think you and I both agreed that bringing Noah home, bringing Hollywood home, bringing Wesley over from the dark side. I know that's your favorite team, so, I know you were a little bit hurt losing Wesley Grimes from over the summer. So, I know you were feeling a little bit. But
for the members who don't know, I despise Wake Forest. I live in Greensboro and I despise Wake Forest. So whenever Hunter and Justin make that joke, I despise Wake Forest. They're not my favorite team. This is my favorite team.
It's all good, man. We know how you feel about them, so it's all good. But we will let you do your 3 key players. Obviously State's pretty stacked in the running game too. They brought Jordan Waters and Grayson McCall on offense. Obviously brought in Zeke Carell as well from Notre Dame. So this is one of the most talented teams we've had, Colby. So I think this might have been my toughest, picks for the week for 3 players that I wanted to nail down. So I'm gonna let you do yours first.
Okay, so 3 key players. So I'm gonna throw out a wild card out there for you. Justin Jolie is my
let's go
guy. Shout out to Justin.
Shout out to Jay Lee.
We interviewed him last season, so that was a good interview, and I really enjoyed him a lot. Justin knows how I feel about him. I feel like he's going to be a stud. He is my first key player. My second is Aiden White. I want Aiden White to just shut down everybody. Any receiver he's on, shut him down. To me, he is a key player for this game. And then another player who is also on defense is Sean Brown. I want Sean Brown to completely take that linebacker slash safety hybrid mold that he is and just go to town with it. It's important that the defensive players that I've talked about have an impact on this game because, like you were saying, Western has weapons. Western has a good deep ball game. Their coach feels confident. I mean, I'm not confident in them, but like, I'm just saying, like, we need our defensive players to show up. I feel like our offensive players are going to show up, but I do think Justin Jolie is going to be a huge impact player for this game.
I completely agree. You totally took the words right out of my mouth. I can't say enough about the guy. Shout out to Justin if you're going to listen to this tonight, because I know you're up to about 250 pounds now. You put on some really good weight, and I'm ready for you to show, Wolfpack Nation what we were all about. He was my number one key as well, because I really just think he's such a mismatch when it comes to putting him in that flexy position, that flex wide position. And, he's so good at being able to catch the ball. His catch radius is just off the chart. If you put the ball anywhere close to him, he's going to make the catch. And it also was helpful for him to put on the weight, because he's going to be asked to probably block downfield quite a bit for some of those guys in the slot. Casey and Jonathan Taylor probably going to get a little bit of run Thursday night too. And, you want to see those guys impact in multiple ways. And Justin is the guy that I really think impacts the game in multiple ways. And he was my number one as well. My second, which, might surprise some people, probably doesn't, but, I really think Jordan Waters is going to be my guy this year.
Yeah.
He's really the one that I'm looking forward to seeing how he runs the football the most. He was the player that we heard the most about in the offseason as far as being the most consistent, being the most, powerful runner that NC State's had in a long time. And I really think his experience, especially his experience against playing in the big-time games, I mean, Duke was a really great team down at Clemson last year, and that's where NC State's heading for week 4. So I think his experience and his running style is just a perfect fit for what Coach and I really wants to do offensively. And then my absolute guy on defense that I really want to see, and it's going to sound under the radar, but, Travali Price is my guy. So I picked Travali out this week, singled him out. No hate to Davin, because we all know Davin's going to do what he's doing. But the best thing I've heard about it all season was Travali taking the next step. I've heard the light bulb has come on for him. I've heard that he is playing at a super high level. I've heard that he could potentially be the next NFL guy that we have coming off the line after Davin leaves. So
he's a stud in NCAA 25.
He is the guy that I literally switched from the left side to the right side after Davin left. And he's cooking in his year 25. So, but I really watched some film of him in this offseason, and I saw how much weight he put on too. I mean, we all thought that he had the potential, but he may have just not been physically ready yet to take that step. And when I'm breaking down, I'm looking for guys that are going to step up and take that next step for this defense, because everybody's always asking, who's going to replace Peyton and who's going to replace, Aiden when they leave. And, you want to see the guys like Brandon had a good season last year, so that you're in good shape when our guys leave. And, you mentioned Sean Brown, and the word I texted you, before he was named to all these preseasonal lists and the captainship, I said Sean Brown equals animal. And that's what I'm going with this year. And Sean Brown is going to eat So Wolfpack Nation, we all love Peyton, but I think you're going to grow to love Sean Brown too this year. So yeah, for sure, those were my three. It's hard, man, because
Yeah.
NC State turned over almost 30% of their roster. A little over 30% of their roster. So, we got a ton of new faces, a lot of new, things to look out for. But those were the things that I think personally are going to be the keys to beating Western, not just for the 2024 season. I think these are just strictly for this game, but we might have a totally different take next week because Tennessee is on the horizon.
Yeah.
And so is Clemson. So things may change, but Trevally, I want to see you ball out. Jordan, I want to see you ball out this week, and let's get it done. Let's play a physical style of football. And Dave wants to be balanced. Dave wants to be physical. So I can't use what Coach 2J likes to say because we got to be correct on here, but we all know Garrett wants to move some bodies off the lot. So let's take a look out for that this year, and let's see NC State actually control the line of scrimmage. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
So those were our three keys, our three key players, three keys to the game. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the three keys on the Western side of the football, Colby. So, we got to go talk about and give them some love too. So, obviously, the first one that we all know, Cole Gonzalez, he's Mr. Everything, Southern Conference. He was Offensive Player of the Year in 2023. He's preseason conference Offensive Player of the Year. He's probably one of the more experienced and productive quarterbacks in the FCS. So for us, number one, for me, that was my number one. I don't know, who you have, but
that's my number one too. That's my number one too.
He's really good. He's really savvy. He's from Florida too, so he knows how to play that type of speed. He's not going to get really rattled by seeing a faster, bigger defense. I think he's a really good player, but ultimately the way NC State's defense is set up is to keep everything in front of us, and so as long as we don't let him get out and do what we saw in the bowl game, as long as we're not letting him just run around everywhere, I think they're going to be fine there. But he was my number one, and then I actually flipped to their defensive side of the ball. They've got a lot of good returning players on that side of the ball, and one of their biggest guys I was looking out for was their defensive lineman was Curtis Fan, and he talked a little bit about him today in the press conference for Carolina. And he said they really think that they can control the line up front. So
I hate how you just chose my second best one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those first two are just the first two players that I've chosen, and then I don't even I didn't have a third one because I just didn't feel like. I just feel like if we don't make those two players, play their game, then I feel like it's just not a game after that. It just I don't know. But they do have a lot of talented players. There's a lot to choose from, but those two were like my main two that I really went with.
Yeah, and they're strong up front. For them to be playing at the FCS level, they came in ranked in the top 25 in two different polls. So ultimately, I really did think that they have some players. They have some really good impact guys. Samari Dukes was another guy I really wanted to give some shout outs to. He's a returning player for them as well. And he really helps lead that secondary for them. They really talked about at Southern Conference Media Day. I was able to interview him and talk to him for a little bit, and he really was confident that they were going to be able to at least, press up on NC State's receivers and give them a challenge. So their secondary is really strong. They're returning a lot. CJ Williams is also there. They've got a senior in Ed Jones as well, who is also returning. So three of their guys in the secondary are strong. They're strong. They're experienced. They're they've played a lot of football. So um, those were the guys that I kind of had penciled in, and just from talking to them and seeing how they played last season and see how they've improved to this season. But ultimately, it's going to be a really good test for them because NC State's going to send a lot of different weapons at them on the wide
Yeah.
receivers. It's going to be interesting. That was one of the battles I wanted to watch in this game was really, because Noah Rogers is going to be for those who didn't know, the depth chart came out, and Noah's going to be starting on the outside. And I really think his size is really going to give them some trouble. But they do have a lot of speed and they have a lot of experience. So it's kind of one of those situations where, we know the potential of Noah, but they've also got the production. They've played a lot of football, and Noah hasn't even caught a pass yet. So, he's 2 years removed from high school right now, and it's going to be interesting to see, how do our young receivers, play against those more experienced DBs. So,
Yep, I agree.
but we're excited, man. Colby, it's football. It's Thursday night in the Carter.
Yes.
I know it's going to be like 112,000 degrees, but we're going to be good. So we're all going to stay hydrated. I know Wolfpack Nation knows how to do that very well. So ultimately, I was really looking forward to this game. It's going to be a really fun experience. I've got a lot of friends that went to Western, a lot of alumni from my high school are going to be coming to this game. So was really excited to kind of meet up with them. We're also excited to be our first time together. Hunter's going to be here at the game as well. So all of us are here for you guys to take a look at this Western team and don't sleep on them. That's my number one thing is just don't sleep on them.
Yeah. I'll be watching the game from in Rhode Isle, so.
Colby's got it on lockdown. He's got all your sources for hydration. So, y'all make sure y'all hit up Colby Pleasance during the game, after the game. He's going to make sure he take care of y'all. Speaking of hydration, I wanted to give a shout out. We got to give a shout out to a couple of our companies, teams that have been helping us in the last couple of years. Shout out to the Body Armor team at Coca-Cola. They've been a really big deal for us. It's been a huge deal for me, but we also were able to really do our first game day show to season 2, Colby, from the Medios. And I really wanted to give them a shout out tonight too. So they've been super good for us. Obviously Wolfpack Nation, coming into town from out of town, in town, stop by. Make sure you grab some of their world famous calzones and support their business as well. It's NC State owned, been there since 1963. So, it's been passed down through Wolfpack football players for generations. So make sure y'all go check them out. But outside of that, Colby, I think, it should be a pretty easy game.
Yeah.
It should be a pretty exciting and fun time. So with all that said, we're going to let us get to our final portion of the show, which is where Colby's going to give his, breakdown of his score prediction and why he's predicting what he's predicting, and then we're going to go from there.
All right, Justin, you're going to get mad at me because I know you like Western in a good game, make it at least probably a good game. It's not going to be a whole butt whooping, but I think it's going to be a butt whooping. I just don't think I just don't think personally they match up with our speed at the wide receiver position. I personally think defensively we are more physical than they are, and we have a better quarterback, in my opinion. I hate to say it, but I feel this game is going to be State's way, so I'll throw Western some love a little bit, but I think it's going to be 7-56.
Okay. So I will give you some, and this is why I kind of have a little bit of caution. 4 teams last week in week 0 were double-digit dogs, and they all covered. So give me Western to cover the 33.5. But NC State's still going to have a very easy night, 48-17.
Okay.
They're gonna end up, they'll score a few points early. I got them getting a couple field goals out there, getting into some scoring range early. But I think the second half really is where NC State takes over. And I know I'm gonna speak a little bit for Hunter on this one, but he's got packed by 90, so he's gonna end up being our guy with that. So
Okay.
we're gonna leave him. He's got NC State by a lot. So
All right.
shout out to him for being a great sport about this. We're super excited to add him to the team. For those that don't know the guy in Wolfpack Nation, he is going to give you a really, really good show. We've brought a lot of really good talent on. He's funny.
Yes.
He's also wants to give his some thoughts on some of his other games for next week. So we're gonna have Hunter do a little bit of a segment on his plays and picks of the week, and he's gonna give us his breakdown on why he's picking those games. A lot of really good games next week as well. So of course the big one's gonna be the Tennessee NC State game, but this week, man, we're focused on 2 nights. We got Thursday night football underneath the lights. So let's turn it red, light the bell tower red.
Yeah.
Get as many touchdowns as we can get, and let's have fun. So look forward to all of you guys this season. Colby, man, it's been great. We're growing. Keep following us, liking us, telling your friends about us. We're gonna be here all year. So huge shout out so far to the men's soccer team. They have started out 2-0.
Yeah.
Brand new coach this year. So, go Pack, go Coach Hubbard, and
go soccer.
Every sport. So, but Colby, it's gonna be fun Thursday, man. First time in the box. So, for us, it's gonna be a great night for a whole pack of Wolves. I mean, this time last year we were just a couple of guys, that wanted to talk. But
of course.
Check out the site. It's been fully revamped. Everything should be up to date. We got the roster and the schedule, and we'll update the results for NC State football as well this year. So be sure to check out wholepackofwolves.com. Check us out on Twitter at wholepackofwolvespod. We're also on Instagram at wholepackofwolves. Check out all of our stuff and content there. We're going to have some great things for you guys this year. Super excited, man. I know you're down at the beach. You're going to be having some fun down there. So enjoy the game. I wish you were to be here because obviously we're also going to be joining the tailgate with the Tuffy Talk guys. So can't wait to go meet Greg and all those great, wonderful people over there. So can't wait to meet up with a ton of great Wolfpackers on Thursday night, man. It's going to be fun. So,
of course.
As always, we got to do what we got to do. I got to go Pack.
Go Pack,
Pack by 800 on Thursday. Colby, finish us off, man. Go ahead and let us out, man.
All right, guys. Go Pack. As you can see right here. Yep. Go Pack. And beat the Catamount.
Love it, man.